And we are live. So today's lesson, following our addition and subtraction of decimals with our mental math yesterday, we're moving on to something that should look super duper familiar. And you should kind of be like, really? This at this point in the year? I know how to do this. It's rounding. And we've already utilized rounding when we've done multiplication, when we've done division. We've used two methods of estimation, which is rounding and compatible numbers. Today, we're going to focus on rounding. And we're going to add a little extra to what we've been doing. We're going to round whole numbers, but we're also going to be rounding decimals, which might be something new, but I promise you it's actually super duper easy once you see the steps. All right, and our essential question of the day, how can you round whole numbers and decimals? Let's move on. So our only key term for today is a term that we're pretty familiar with, which is rounding. Rounding is when you replace one number with another number that tells about how many or how much. For example, if I was rounding $634 to the nearest hundred, notice I've highlighted my hundreds place. The hundreds place is the only place that can either round up or remain the same. So that is the number that will be changing. I look next door and I use my rule. Does anybody remember the rule? There's a little rhyme that helps you remember the rule for rounding.
Yes.
What is it?
I remember 5 or more. No.
Yeah?
4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score.
You got it.
That's what
So we look next door. There's a 3 there, and it's not strong enough to raise that 6. So we're going to keep it a 6 and round our 634 to 600. We'll look a little more closely here. So here are our steps for rounding. The first thing is to underline the digit in the rounding place. Of course, if you want and you're a big highlighter fan, you can highlight your digit in that place. Now let's see what place we're rounding it. It says round to the nearest 10. So I'm going to go to the tens place. The 3 is in the tens place. I will underline the 3. That 3 is royalty. That is the king or queen sitting upon the throne. That 3 is royalty. So that 3 is the only number that has the possibility to raise up. That is it. In fact, that 3 is so royal that the only thing it can do is raise up. It cannot ever be less than 3. It will either remain in power as a 3 or it will rise up to a mightier 4. That is the only thing that it can do. Then we look next door. You're going to circle the next digit to the right. Next to the 3, we have a 4. Now, here's where our rules come in. 4 or less, let it rest, and I've tweaked that 5 or more. 5 or more, add 1 more. I tweaked it so I can make sure that nobody was raising any higher than 1. I've seen some people who actually add on the circled number, raising this by the number that's circled. Not something we do. You can only raise by 1. That's as high as you can go. So 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, add 1 more. So using that rule, we're going to look in our tens place. We have a 3. Next door, we have a 4. That is a 4 or less. So we're going to let it rest. That 3 remains a 3. It does not change. Then we're going to change all digits to the right of the rounding place to 0. So I have used you, you pesky 4. I have used you. You are nothing to me. Off with your head. You become a 0.
Off,
right? Yes. And everything
Off with their heads.
Everything before the 3,
With a
fifth grade.
chainsaw.
Okay, please listen. Everything before the 3 is also considered royalty. They are part of the royal family, right? They are the ancestors of the 3. So guess what? Everything before the 3 gets to stay. Nothing happens. They are unchanged. They remain. Everything after the 3, they were the royal subjects that the king or queen used to gain more power. Unfortunately, in this case, that 4 was not strong enough to lift the power of the king or queen. So What did the king or queen do? They beheaded them. You are nothing to me. And it
Yay.
became a 0.
I love
Right.
to.
For those who are in need of a visual reminder, I did not forget to include a number line for you. Now, again, since we were rounding to the nearest 10, which is the 3, I'm going to look at the 2 10s it is between. So the 634 will be between 630 and 640. That's the nearest 10s. So it will either round to a 630 or a 640. You are welcome to use a number line for this as well. Looking on my number line, notice that the 634 falls before the half point line. Therefore, it is closer to 630. Now, I want you to see I'm not playing a trick here. When I move to the next slide, pay attention to the how-to column as I show you very cleverly, because it's going to be super complicated. So hold your horses. Don't get too scared here. No panic button. Watch what happens when I need to round to the decimal place. Watch that how-to column. Ready?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Wait, where's the how-to column?
Did I change my slide?
Yeah, you did. No.
No, you did. Wait, now you did. Now you did. Now you did. No,
What
you
do you
did. Now you
notice?
did.
What do you
Is
notice?
I get it. I know.
What do you notice?
The decimal point came on.
You put the
But what happened to my how-to, my steps?
It changed.
Did it?
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Guess
Oh.
what?
Oh, I see. You're rounding to the nearest 10th.
Right? But what happened to my how-to column? My
It-
steps.
It's the
It's
same.
small.
It's the same exact steps. Even though it's decimals, we're going to use the same exact steps. Do not be frightened by that little decimal point. For some reason, whenever I add a decimal point into something, everyone panics and they're like, I don't know how to do this. And as soon as I put my finger over that decimal point, all of a sudden everybody knows how to
Everyone's
do
so
it.
smart.
I know how to
Everyone's
do
so
it.
smart.
So
when you
guess
cover
what?
it.
5th graders, look at the steps. It is going to be the same exact steps. All I did was add a decimal point in there, but we're going to follow the same steps. Instead of rounding to the nearest 10 in this example, notice
10th.
I've decided to round to the nearest 10th. All right, but it's going to be the same rules. Let's underline the digit in the rounding place. That 3 is in the 10th place. So guess what? That 3 is royalty. That is the king or queen. Yes, we have a monarchy on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to circle the next digit to the right. Again, I kept the same number so you could see that it's literally the same exact steps. I did that intentionally. All right. The 4 is next door. So let's use our little rhyme to remember our rules. 4 or less. Let it rest. That 3 is not
Five
going
or more
anywhere.
races.
5th graders, that 3 will never be less than 3, right? It is royalty. So either it remains a 3 in power or it can be raised up by 1. That's as much as we can do with that 3, but it will never go down. I've seen some students who round down. There's no such thing. We do not round down. We either stay the same or we round up, okay? That 3 stays a 3. Everything before the 3 is also royalty. So it stays the same. The 6 is part of that royal family. It stays the same. Guess what? You pesky 4, you have done nothing for me. You have not risen my power. Off with your head. Everything
with your
after
head.
the 3 becomes a 0. Again, just for reference, 5th graders, I have included a number line once again. What do you notice that's a little bit different about my number line than the number that I rounded? Anybody notice the difference?
Yes.
Oh, you knocked off the 0.
I've not seen everything.
Exactly. I knocked off the 0. Instead of 6 and 30 hundredths, I went between 6 and 3/10 and 6 and 4/10. Why did I do that?
Because now you're doing it with decimals.
Yes, it was
we-
decimals before. Does anybody know why I decided not to include the 0?
Because the 0 doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't, right? 5th graders, the 0 has no value. If I took the 0 off, the 3 is still worth 3/10. If I add the 0 on, how much is a 3 worth? It's still worth 3/10. So if I was asking you to round 6 and 3400ths, you should simplify your answer to 6 and 3/10. There's no need to add that extra 0 in. Notice, 5th graders, over here, I can't do that. I have to keep the 0 because if I don't have the 0 here, the 0 is a placeholder that makes sure that 3 is worth 30. If I take that 0 away, that 3 is no longer worth 30. That 3 is only worth 3. Do you see that? But in decimals, if I take that 0 off, which I have the possibility to do, that 3, the value does not change. That 3 is still 3/10, no matter what. So when you have a decimal, you might have a bunch of zeros at the end of the decimal. I'm going to ask you to slash off their heads, get rid of those extra zeros. If they are not placeholders, they are not necessary. So get rid of them. All right. And simplify your answer to include just the numbers that have a value. Of course, with our whole numbers, that 0 was necessary as a placeholder. Here, this 0 serves no purpose.
So Miss Velez, so as in our homework, you're gonna ask us to take out the 0.
I would prefer for you, yes,
Yay!
to make sure if you have a decimal to keep it in simplest form. Now, if I have a 0 before the 3, that 0 is needed to push the 3 into a different place, right? So you don't take the zeros out if they are placeholders. But if the 0 is not changing the value at all of that 3, or whatever number it's next to, then I would say it's not needed, okay? All right, that being said, you know I can't leave you without a song. I'm going to put a little poetry into our math. So if you would like to remember the steps for rounding, you feel free to use this little rhyme, all right? I hear some people already singing in very dramatic poetry voices. So, all right, so ready? Find your place, look next door. 5 or greater, add one more. All digits in front stay the same. All digits behind, 0's your name. All right, we had some voices back there in the background.
Look next door.
Thank you, Kai.
Add one more.
And I know for sure, guys, that you're gonna sing this or rhyme this or rap this every single time you have to round, right?
I know
Yeah.
someone was gonna
forget
wrap
this
it.
when my mom would
Fine,
stop
please.
teaching me homework.
Your name is.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to pretend that you all said yes because, you know, it's kindness week and you're all going to humor me and be like, of
Yeah,
course, Miss
yeah.
West,
Yes, of
we're totally
course.
going to
But
sing
yesterday
this
was
and rhyme this
official
every single time we do rounding.
Yeah.
Yes,
Plus,
yes.
yesterday was official opposite day, so I guess this is not the second official day.
No,
Day.
no.
My sister was joking about that.
All right.
and
So,
she said that I have to eat a jalapeno.
all right, 5th graders. So let's try some practice ones just to make sure you understand how to do this, especially with the decimal ones, which for some reason, when we see that little dot, it scares us. I'm hoping that's not the case. You guys let me know if we've got some glare today. I'm gonna try my best. We're on page, again, for reference, 34 for some problems. We'll start with an easier whole number.
And
And I'm going to, as we work with these numbers, I'm going to test and make sure that you remember your place value. So very quickly, I'm going to underline the place that we're rounding to. What place are we rounding to?
The tens.
Tens place. Awesome.
Not
So
place.
the 1 is in the tens place. Guess what? That one is royalty, king or queen. And we're going to look next door to one of the royal subjects, which that king or queen wants to use
It might
to
be on the
hopefully
talking
raise
book.
its power. All right, we look next door. Let's use that little poem or that rhyme. So it's going to be 5 or more, add
Please.
1 more, 4 or less,
let it rest.
let it rest. So what do we got there?
We got a 6. That's more than
We
got
got a
a
6. So is that 5 or more? Or is that 4 or less?
It's more. It's
Ah,
more.
5 or more. So we add
Okay,
1 more. That 1 is going to use that 6 to raise its power to a
20.
2. And
And a
guess
0.
what? I've used you. Off with your head. You are nothing
It's
to
still
me.
6.
I hate
And
Well,
by
you
the
very
way,
much gold.
By the way, what do you
What?
notice
I'm
if
not
I
need you
were
anymore.
to erase that 6?
it become a 1.
It's a 0 now. The
Yeah,
number I circled
yeah,
became
okay.
nothing. All right. So
He
that's
got me much gold.
16.
Now I don't need him.
That's 16 rounded to a 20. I've used you and you are nothing to me. Off with your head.
Off with your
I'm
head.
going to step upon you to
So no
raise my
matter what
power.
those
All right.
guard people think, so the people are no matter what they're like.
Right. I know what you're talking about. All right.
So it's either
Here we
death or
go.
death.
A decimal.
I
Now
love
we're
decimals.
talking. I'm going to underline the place that I wish to round to. I want you to tell me what place that is. Ready?
Oh, I know.
That's
What
the.
place have
that's
I
the ones-
underlined?
Can I say it? Can I say it?
Yes.
It's the ones place.
The ones place. All right. We are in the ones place. Sometimes we get so used to working with decimal place value that we start to forget regular place value. So I'm glad you remember. So the 6 is royalty. That's the king or queen.
Why is
And we're going to look next door to the right.
Chopping block.
Upon my right-hand side are my royal subjects. I need to see if I can suck some power out of you. And let's use 5 or more, add 1 more, 4 or less, let it rest. What do we got?
To let it rest.
It's let it rest.
Let it rest. I am so sorry, but you must stay a 6. You are still in power, so you will remain a 6.
Mr. 5 and
Everything
6
before the 6 is
nothing.
0.
before the 6.
Oh, the same.
It's
Oh,
part of the
the
royal
royal-
family. It
royal-
stays the same. Don't forget to bring your decimal point down. What happens to this royal subject?
The
It goes to
royal
0.
subject only gave me 1 gold bar.
It gave me nothing. Nothing.
his head.
Off with your head. You've done nothing for me. This is
How
this is
how-
a very unfair king or queen. Regardless of whether
Yeah.
you get helped out or not, you're going to lose your
So-
head.
How
So they
would
gave me
Canada
1 gold
understood?
bar. So I sort of like went like, no, this is nothing to me. So you're gonna be nothing in off of your head.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like the Queen of Hearts, no matter what, off with your head. Let's see if you can benefit me. If not, well, you're still nothing to me. All right, 5th graders, what do you see in this problem that I can alter to make this answer even better? Anything? Anything? I'm
Oh,
looking. Someone who hasn't heard, I haven't heard from. Luigi, what can I do to this answer to make it even better? Do you see anything? Any changes? When I say it, you're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, now I see it." Anyone?
I can
Anyone
see
I
it.
haven't heard from? Some
I
of you are
think there
awfully
is.
quiet.
Oh yes. Can I say?
That's it.
Wait.
Nobody knows what I could do to
I
fix this
do.
answer, to make it
I do.
prettier, make it
do.
pretty. Jaden and Kai are awake today. I'm looking for waking some other people up today. Seraphim, is there anything I could do to this 56 and 0/10 to make this answer even better?
Then just get rid of-
Oh.
You said it. You said it. Get rid of the 0. Why am I going to say 0 and 0/10? I'm going to get rid of the decimal point and the 0, right?
Then
You
you have
wouldn't
a
say
whole
I'm
number.
11 and 0/10 years old. You would just say I'm 11
you
years
have
old.
a whole
right?
number.
Now, why would
Or
I
you
put
just say-
56 and 0/10 years old? I would say 56. Just
You have a
56.
whole number now.
Simplify your answer. Yeah, exactly. You have a beautiful
0
whole
means
number.
nothing.
And
Mr.
I've someone in the other group said yes, they've cleared the bodies of those
That's
that
what I
have
was
been
just about to say.
beheaded.
I was
And I was like, wow, we're getting a little morbid.
I
I think we
I
got to
don't know
stop
who
learning
this
about
is.
these colonies, what's happening to the colonists, because
wait,
our brains are
wait.
going.
But
The worst.
person ate the body in Jamestown.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! All right, let's not bring our social studies lessons
What
in.
about
All right.
vampires drinking?
Cannibals. People
All
are
right,
dying in
let's
COVID.
move
People
on.
are dying in math. People are dying in social studies.
All right.
What do we
Let's
do?
not get. We're getting a little too morbid.
Humans are
What
getting
place
dead.
is underlined, 5th graders? In 1 and
The
3200s.
One
What
place.
place?
3/10.
The place.
Oh,
Oh, we forgot what
3/10.
place means. Place. Tenth. The 10th place.
Sorry.
All right, so guess what? That 3 is royalty. It is the king or queen. We're going to look next door to the royal subjects, which have an unfortunate fate, as we know.
1, 2.
And
just
either this
pretend they-
3 is going to remain in power as a 3, go steady, remain, or it's going to raise up and get some extra power. Looking next door, 5 or more, add 1 more. 4 or less, let it rest.
Let it
What's
rest.
happening to this 3?
It's
Getting beheaded.
No, the 3 is gonna
Well,
stay
before that,
Two.
the 3, no,
same.
we never lose power. It doesn't become a 2. The 3 will stay a 3. The 3 is royalty. It's untouchable. Either it becomes a 3 or it's going to gain power.
Wait,
It
Miss
will
Velez, the
never
one
go
is also
down to a
royalty.
2.
The one
And
is
like
also
a villain.
exactly. Don't forget your decimal point. Got to bring your decimal point. And the 1 came before the 3. So the 1 is an ancestor of the 3. It's part of the royal family. Untouchable as well. All right.
And the 2
now what
became
happens
a
to the
maid
2?
down in the dungeon.
So,
Off with the head.
Off
easier
with
way
your
of
head. The
explaining
2
it with a
becomes
touchstone.
a
Miss
nothing.
Velez,
You are
don't
nothing
act
to me, especially
Miss
since you didn't give me
So,
any power.
Miss Velez,
Yes.
he was supposed to give me 1 million acres of land on America, but instead he gave me 100. So bye.
We
Bye.
could chop them off.
Can we fix this answer at all, 5th graders?
Yes.
Make it a little
Get rid
cleaner.
of the
Yes.
zero.
Thank you, Zoe.
Zero.
Get rid of the 0, aka
No,
clear
wait,
away the body. All right.
Let's pretend the 2 became a maid down in the castle because
Sure,
And the
whatever
0
helps you
became into a
sleep at
human.
night. All right. All right, one more with these whole numbers, and then I'm throwing you a challenge one because I feel like we're
after
getting
we
this.
first did
Okay, let's-
Roanoke, I got
Okay, let's do
nightmares.
something.
All
Let's
right,
do it
ready?
again. Off with your head.
What place? What place? And the other group scared me
put a
with this
comma.
one. What? I did put a comma. What place is underlined?
The 10,000.
10,000?
Oh my gosh! Thank you.
I
Thank
saved
you.
it.
Okay, in the last group, they scared me a little. You know what they said? They said the
What?
tens place.
Ooh.
And I was like, my heart. Okay. And then when they realized that it wasn't, we had a moment. Okay. So yes,
Not
the
like this.
10,000s place. Thank you. And
Wait, but how would they say tens place?
I don't know. I think they got.
How would
I
they?
think,
Do they not see the
I think
comma?
you know,
the
I
comma,
think they mixed
they
up
thought
the
the-
comma and thought it was a decimal. So I'm glad you caught that. All right. Because if it was a decimal, then that would be the tens place, right? All right. So we're in a tens place. The 2 is the king or queen. We look next door. And by the way, you see how many subjects are after this? Poor guys.
Bad.
Poor guys, unfortunately.
They all
trying to
became
get rid of
maids
that
and
glare.
servants.
There we go.
Well,
All right.
No, they all got beheaded.
Yeah, off
I
with their
make
head.
myself.
All right, ready? So the 2 is royalty. That's the only number that can change. Either it's going to stay a 2 in power, mighty 2, or the subjects are going to give it a little more power. It's going to steal some power. So that being said, 5th graders, I think this camera won't stay steady. All right. Look next door. 5 or more, add 1 more. 4 or less, let it rest. What do we got? We got a 7. So what's going to happen to that 2?
It's gonna gain power.
It's going to gain power and become a mighty 3.
Yes.
Everything
Alright,
before
draw.
the 3 are the ancestors of the 3. It's part of the royal family, so they
The
stay the
7
same.
7 looks
Wait,
like
Miss
And
Well,
what happens to everyone else?
So,
Oh,
Beheaded.
Beheaded.
Off with
Off
your
with your
head.
heads. They all become
the
zeros.
story why they became
Wait,
zeros.
wait, Miss Liz.
Why?
Why they were
Wait,
buried.
wait, what
What
is
was
They
that?
were buried because
Wait,
the
Miss
7
Celeste.
was supposed to give me 1 gazillion.
You guys are
1
going
gazillion,
hardcore onto these
yes,
stories.
1
You
gazillion
made us
acres of
do
land.
this.
But
You
then
made
I
us.
noticed
What if I
that
started?
one number.
Google
So I
like
just
that.
Started
All right,
something.
all right. I
supposed to make a 7, but they didn't.
think you get it. I think you get it. And we're going down the rabbit hole of these stories. So without further ado, I promised a challenge question. So I'm very, we have time for one challenge question.
We have
Ready?
1
One
minute.
challenge question. Shh.
Like,
Ready?
This is easy.
I want you to, when you
How
solve
many
this
seconds do
one,
we have?
all right, guys, we got to mute ourselves. I know we're excited. When you solve this one, I want you to type in the chat what you think this number would be rounded to. This is our challenge question. Sorry, challenge
Wait, what is
question
that?
of the
Min-
day. Ready? You probably know where this is going. Don't say anything. In the chat. In the chat. In the chat, when you get the answer, this is the challenge question of the day.
I get it. I get it.
All right, don't say it. Don't say it. Type it to me.
Okay.
Type it
Oh,
to me. And you all get to act as the monarch, the very evil monarch here.
Wait, I can't see the number.
So
So
you might have some beheading. Well, you'll definitely have some beheading. Oh,
Wait, Miss Velez.
Yes.
Wait, Miss Velez, I'm gonna send you the number, like the first couple numbers, because I can't really see the number. Like,
You can't see it. I think
Here,
it's pretty
'cause it
clear. There's
doesn't
like
say my
actually no
size.
glare this time. The
The
number
nine
is
is the baby
634 and
And then
9800.
Yeah, I think I got it wrong. I'm not sure.
held down on my
I'm gonna look at
zeros.
that. I'm
I
looking
got
at.
it.
I'm consulting the
Got it
chat.
right?
acc-
I don't
I
know.
accidentally held down 0.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, remember with decimals like to clear away the bodies.
I love bodies.
That's all I'll just say.
Oh.
I love keeping bodies. Personally, I
All right,
love
all right, all right.
keeping
Let's not get
bodies.
morbid. Let's not get morbid.
I love murdering.
All right, one.
Them?
All right, our
The
time is up.
janitor.
So
You
ready?
made us. You
Ready?
made us.
So I'm looking, and for reference on this video, people will see the answers that came in. Wahaha. Ready?
Oh no.
Ready? So the 9 is royalty,
Yep.
king or queen. Look next door. 5 or more says we need to raise the score. So if we raise the score here, this 9 has to become a 10. But a 10 doesn't fit here. Remember, this number is 9/10, yes?
Mhm.
If I raise it, it becomes 10/10,
Mhm.
which means it is 1 whole. That 1 whole goes here,
I think I got it.
which makes this number 635.
Oh.
Eh.
I put.
Which
I
you
did that
would
with
remove the
last
bodies to make it
I
a
got it
whole
right.
number.
I got it right.
635.
Miss
I got it right.
Wait, so Miss Velez, I
Yes.
didn't know this. Wait, so we killed the prince or the princess? We
You know
Well,
what?
that's
It didn't.
brutal.
It
That's
got
brutal.
promoted
baby.
so well. You didn't. It got
said the
promoted
monster
so
was
much that it
brutal.
moved into the highest power possible. It moved into a hole.
So
But
Miss
she's
Velez,
not there anymore.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Does everybody see how I did that?
The real
Yes.
theory is
Yeah,
like we
Yes.
Go play with
I'm
the
trying to
wolves.
let you guys go for the day. Does
It
everybody
turned
see?
into a 10, and then you
That's
added
so
1
much
plus to the
leeway.
4, and then that turned into 635,
Exactly.
and then you took away the body.
Yes. So we got to move on. I just wanted to make sure that if you got a challenge question like this, you see that if you had a 9 or right, anytime you have a 9 that needs to raise, you're going to have to automatically, anytime you have a 9 in any place that needs to raise, you're going to have to raise into more royalty. You're going to have to raise into your family, right? That 1 is going to have to go up into the next column. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
You can't just, I had other people in the other group who put the 1 here. That's demoting the 9/10 to a 1/10. No, we want to promote it into a 1 whole. All right, guys?
I put.
bye.
Wait.